The bombshell out of South Africa has again focused international attention on Pretoria's so-called non-aligned position towards Russia's invasion of a sovereign UN member state, an issue SABC News raised with Washington's head of the Office of Sanctions Coordination.
We are working with governments around the world to restrict access to anything that will support the Russian military on the ground in Ukraine. I'm not going to discuss any specific possible punitive measures. I do think any country that reads the press can see that even the European Union is preparing to provide itself with additional tools to address actions by third countries. So it's clear this is moving in a direction that I think it'd be wise of countries to step back from any kind of engagement with the Russian military.
Hi, how are you?
Washington's top envoy to the United Nations also weighed in.
We continue to certainly have a strong bilateral relationship with South Africa. We have worked over the course of the past 2 years to encourage all countries to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine and not to give any support to those efforts. We will continue to have conversations along those lines with all countries here in New York to ensure that they take on the important position of supporting the UN Charter.
Human Rights Watch called the allegation of weapons supplies worrying and urged South Africa to use its proximity to Russia to call for an end to attacks on Ukraine and to stop providing diplomatic cover for a country accused of possible crimes against humanity.
Having a non-aligned position is understandable in one sense. It's not something that, we think that is a good approach in this war. You need to take a stand against war crimes, against atrocities. South Africa has long been a leader when it comes to speaking out in favor of human rights. I mean, let's not forget that this is the country of Nelson Mandela, of the heroic fight against apartheid and discrimination and injustice. So we expect South Africa to behave as leaders in the UN system. And unfortunately, in the case of Ukraine, we have seen them being anything but leaders. In a certain sense, they've provided a bit of diplomatic cover, helping take some of the heat off Russia, helping keep the international community divided in certain cases. South Africa should also support international efforts to hold all those responsible for war crimes in Ukraine accountable. They should, in particular, cooperate with the ICC and help them in what they're doing.
The International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for President Vladimir Putin in March. As a party to the Rome Statute, South Africa would be legally compelled to effect the arrest warrant were an indictee of the ICC to set foot within the country's national jurisdiction. It remains unclear if President Putin will attend the BRICS summit in person in South Africa in August. But this and the weapons and ammunition claim continue to raise questions in Western quarters about the country's foreign policy positions and the longer-term consequences thereof. Sherwin Briceby, SABC News, New York.